So we might see Rome take over the remaining 2 French cities, which would be a big deal because we know how powerful Paris is. Again, we have come down to 4 major powers left in this campaign. So we'll see what happens, and actually, I would love to know who you guys think should win the campaign. We're about 50 turns away, 56 turns away, and it's between Ethiopia, Rome, Russia, and Mongolia. And right now, Mongolia looks massive, and they should be considered probably near the top. The thing is, though, we don't know what's going to happen in the next 50 turns. We don't know if Russia's going to declare war on Mongolia. We don't know what would ever happen between these 2 massive powers going. I don't think we'd ever seen a battle like that before. If these 2 nations do decide to go to war, and I don't even know if I want them to, it would, because I don't know if I want. I mean, it'd be easy to tell the winner, unless of course it was a stagnant war, which I think it might. That's a possibility. But I think. That's how a winner could be decided. But I'd love to know right now who you guys think should be the winner. Again, like I said, we're still 50 turns away, so I don't know. But should it be Mongolia, Russia, Rome, or Ethiopia? So let me know in the comment section. But like I said, and also in the next few turns, ooh, did someone get nuked? Someone must have got nuked. Oh no, this is just pillage tiles. It's not Fallout. It's just been like, I guess. I didn't zoom in close enough for the animation to go up. I think Portugal's been like pillaging all their stuff. Well, anyways, this city's going to fall. And then Rome's going to push forward and try to attack Paris, but there's still several more French units that they're going to have to fight against. Babylon and Austria. Yeah, those nations are kind of close to each other. But like I said, so yeah, I mean, depending on who you guys think, I just kind of want to get like a general consensus of who you guys think is right now should be winning. Again, we're still 50 turns away, so there's still a lot to decide. But if Russia and Mongolia were to go to war and there's a standout winner, I think that would probably honestly end the campaign. I think we'd be able to tell who wins. Obviously, if Russia declared war right now on Mongolia, they would probably win. They'd probably sweep over, get like 4 or 5 cities, maybe even more, maybe 6, 7 cities, who knows? I mean, what's their air force looking like? They've got a pretty good air force, but most of it's in Warsaw. They've got atomic bombs. It'd be a nuclear war more than likely because Mongolia just finished the Manhattan Project. They probably could build a few atomic bombs in the process. It'd be very deadly. I think the campaign would go to Russia, though. It'd have to go to Russia. Although, again, we don't know how much power Rome is going to get from taking over Paris. Right now, I would have to say that the weakest... Actually, no, not at all. Because Ethiopia, I know we haven't talked about them very much, but they probably have the easiest job to do. All they have to do is either take over the Boer, which would still be difficult, don't get me wrong, but they take over the Boer or take over Mali. Mali would probably be arguably a lot easier because the Boer are really good at defending themselves right here. So all they have to do is really take over some subpar nations, or they could go after Babylon and then Persia, and then crap load of new cities. So I don't know, but Ethiopia kind of doesn't really have to fight anybody too strong. Russia would. Russia really doesn't have too many. I mean, they could go after Tibet, Persia, or Austria. That's still going to be difficult just because of the geographical placement of all these cities. Besides that, you would have to fight through. Yeah, Russia would have to fight Mongolia or Sweden. Rome is very spread out, so it wouldn't be very easy for them to easily take over any more cities. I guess they could technically go after England. They could go after Sweden, but I just don't think that would happen. And they'd probably only be able to take over 3 cities from Sweden. I don't know. Austria would be too difficult. Who knows what's going to happen in the next 50 turns? Who absolutely knows? I don't know. I'm sure we'll see another big war. That's for sure. But I don't know who it's going to be that declares these wars. I have a feeling that we could see maybe an isolated Russia for the next 50 turns. I know that they want to colonize, so they must be trying to get open borders. But Mongolia will absolutely not give that to them. And Mongolia is clearly rebuilding quite fast. I'm seeing a lot more units than I did a few turns ago. So they are not slowing down at all. Ooh, look at this force that the Ethiopians have. Who are they trying to attack? Maybe Mongolia? That would be kind of interesting. Kind of a colonial war with the Ethiopians and the Mongolians. Remember all the power that they still control over Australia. But that's about it. We also have the Romans still continuing to settle new colonies, whereas everybody else is kind of slowed down. Mali now after Greece. Sweden going after somebody. That might be after maybe the Zulu or some of the weaker colonial powers in the New World. Really, no one's going to be able to take over Greece unless it's, I guess, Ethiopia maybe. If Persia's not going to do it, which Persia might. Persia's been pretty good, clearly, at attacking several turns away, several turns later, and taking over cities, or like kind of regrouping. That's something I've seen a lot in this series, is the AI going back and returning with a much stronger force. Bam, there goes the first French city. Actually, no, France had taken over this other French city. So Lyon falls, and now the siege of Paris begins, which honestly they should be able to take over. It'd be a process. More than likely, France is going to take this city back. It's going to take some time, but they should be able to do it, which is going to give Rome a lot of strength. This is just too difficult. I think right now, if I had to choose, it would be between, because Rome's probably going to take over Paris. And even though these are the weaker civs at the moment, because they probably have a slightly weaker military, right now it'd have to be between Mongolia and Rome. Yes, definitely. It'd have to be between Mongolia and Rome. But I don't know what's going to happen in 5 turns. I'm sorry, 50 turns. So I don't know what Ethiopia is going to do. I don't know what Russia is going to do. They still control their destiny. And they can honestly take over cities really fast within 5 turns. In 5 turns, Ethiopia and Russia have the power to take over an entire nation, an entire smaller nation. It'd be hard. It'd be hard because of their placement. Well, maybe not so much for the Ethiopians. It'd be very difficult actually for the Russians, but the Ethiopians could probably do something. I mean, they could use this massive military, this navy that they have, and start to attack some nations. They'd have a lot of success there actually. I think they'd have a lot of success there. Japan might get the reward for most disappointing. A lot of people thought in the comment section at the beginning of this series the same thing that I thought, that Japan was going to dominate, and they were terrible. We saw a lot of smart AI decisions, but damn, I'm still seeing stupid AI moves. You know what I mean? Man, it's crazy. Ooh, they're trying to enact freedom. That's not going to happen. India, I don't know why you're trying that. That's another big reason. If Delhi were to fall, they'd get the Forbidden Palace, which means they control. France did take back that city from Rome, which means they control the World Congress, which is a pretty big deal. Yeah, that is a pretty big deal. Okay, so Rome's going to have to take the city back over, which shouldn't be too difficult. England's not even trying anymore. They're not even trying to go after Paris. They had units located in Amsterdam, but they're not using them anymore. Obviously, a lot of Roman units in the North Sea. I don't really know what they do with that. Like I said, Mongolia has really rebuilt their military quite fast, so I don't think it'd be as much of a landslide as we initially thought. I think that it would still go to Russia if they sent over everything. Now, what Russia could do, I mean, we've always been talking about the Russian-Mongolian war, but what technically Russia could do is declare war on Rome, which is something that we're not talking about. They could go after Berlin here, because they've also settled citadels to gather more territory just east of Berlin. And since most of their units are out here in the west, or they're in the northern African colony, it'd be very hard for them to reinforce quickly. So Ethiopia did declare war on Indonesia. They might grab a few cities. They could definitely be successful when attacking Jakarta. They've got a lot of battleships, actually. Whoa. Okay, I would say very intelligent move by the AI there. Pretty smart move. Especially because Indonesia doesn't have the navy that they once had. So what a big factor that I didn't talk about yet, but because Korea was destroyed, Mongolia now doesn't have to worry about anybody else. They're the same role as Ethiopia. Mongolia doesn't have to worry about anybody else behind them backstabbing them. Champa are not going to do anything to Mongolia. And Tibet's not going to do anything to Mongolia. The Philippines probably are not going to do anything to Mongolia. It wouldn't be that big of a threat. So now Mongolia's got their back against the wall. In a good way, I guess. They could attack Russia. If Russia loses a lot of units, Rome could then attack Russia. You know what I mean? And vice versa. If Rome attacks Russia, Ethiopia could go and attack Rome. Ethiopia's the same sense. So Mongolia and Ethiopia both have their back against the wall in a good way. I know that phrase is usually used in a bad way, but in this sense, it's good. It's very good. Okay, I don't even care about that stuff. Don't care. So that is something just to kind of remember now. Let's see if Rome takes this back. Again, they've got reinforcements with this frigate. They've got a little bit of a ranged attack there. They might be able to take it over, but they've got to destroy this great war infantry. They didn't take it over yet, but they will. Rome's probably really pissed that England's not even helping at all. It's going to be hard to take over Paris. They might have their hands full. Maybe Sweden's going after Nottingham of England. Oh my gosh, just so many Roman colonies. It is unbelievable. And it's funny because I know Russia wants to be involved in this colonization game, but they can't. Who was I supposed to be looking at? I can't remember what was the other thing that we were focusing in on. Wow, I just totally blanked out. Obviously, I know the Roman War. Oh, that's right. It's Ethiopia versus Indonesia. There we go. And then the more reinforcements are coming. Jakarta's already about 75% health. Let's see how much damage they can do back. They have a submarine located inside of Jakarta. It won't be super easy. They might even get this. Oh, they're gonna have to fight through a lot of submarines, which is gonna be tough, especially because they're sending over this massive fleet. But honestly, not a bad choice at all. Not a bad choice at all for the Ethiopians to attack Indonesia, because they don't really need to worry about Indonesia coming over towards their lands. It's entirely like it's a risk that is all offensive. Like they can only gain cities from this war. They won't lose anything. Champa really rebuilds quite a bit of their navy and their armies after going after India, and obviously not having success there. But they've done good there. What turn is it? Okay, we're gonna hit turn 500. Here we go. Ethiopia plotting against Rome. Ooh. Also, because they declared a war on Indonesia, that's entirely like a naval war. So Ethiopia could easily get themselves involved into like a land war, and they'd be fine. They could go after Rome, technically. All right, so there goes that city once again. Obviously, they lost a lot of power since it got captured twice. We'll see how much success they have when attacking Paris. It definitely won't be as easy. Do they have more units nearby? Not really. It does seem like Rome might be losing a lot of units. But again, if Ethiopia were to declare war on Rome, they're only going to be able to really take 3 cities. Ethiopia has nothing in terms of the Mediterranean. And it would still be difficult because they'd have to kind of hold on to these cities. I know that Rome has a lot of submarines in the Mediterranean, but still, it would still be difficult to defend some of these other colonies that are coastal while they go after everything else. It really wouldn't be the end of anything, you know. I wouldn't be surprised. I'll be, somewhat excited, but Ethiopia, Rome, in Ethiopian Roman War is kind of, just whatever. We've been waiting for it. We've been anticipating it. It's just kind of whatever. A Russian Mongolia, that would be big. A Russian Roman would be big too. Anything that Russia gets involved in would be a big deal. And I'm going to need to check in on the info attic soon, just to kind of see how much the Mongolians have rebuilt. Look at this. Mongolia, I think they knew. I think as an AI, they kind of knew. They faced this threat to their east, since they're lining up units already to the east, whereas there's nothing down here. There's a little bit, but not much. No atomic bombs for Genghis. And I believe we've already checked, yes, Russia does have atomic bombs. Maybe even a nuclear missile at some point. People with the pointy sticks, boom, look at that. So Mongolia, it has not taken long at all. The top 4 great powers of the world are already, in the top 4. Look at the difference between Ethiopia and Rome, though. Something to kind of keep in mind. And, like I said, Mongolia is really kind of caught up pretty fast. But they're still behind. They are still behind. It would still probably go for Russia's favor. But again, another 10 turns, and it could go anywhere. It could go to any one of these. Now, what do we have next? Rome? How are you going to take over Paris? Oh, well, I guess a little bit easier than we thought. France is already down to 4 units. Paris is in the yellow already. And let's watch as the Ethiopians move towards Indonesian territory. See, they did get pushed back, though. Yeah, they ended up losing more units than I thought. But Jakarta is their capital. This would be a very big city for them to take. It'd go down to 15 population, but that would be pretty useful for the Ethiopians. Surprised that the Ethiopians kind of have become this makeshift naval power almost. It's pretty funny. Who would have thought that? So whatever happened, we started off with 7 kind of great powers for a while there. Portugal was one, and they just became super disappointing. Obviously, the Koreans were the other. Was it the Philippines? Yeah, I think it was those 3. Then the Koreans pushed back the Philippines. Philippines just got stuck on their islands, and then Koreans got destroyed by Mongolia. That's how we were left with 4. Makes sense. I don't think we're going to ever... I don't think we'd go down to 3. Even if Rome were to lose, like, 4 perimeter cities, these 3 cities, and then if Russia were to attack Berlin, maybe even Salzburg, I'd still consider them pretty powerful. I mean, not the most powerful, but after they take over Paris, and if they control still Latin America, and Rome is still really strong. They're still really strong, even if their, military numbers don't necessarily account for that. But, they took over all of Greece. There goes India and Mali. That's an interesting war. I guess, everyone's been trying to declare war on India. I think they want I know India has a few wonders that people really want. I'm going to go one more turn here. I'm going to end it a little bit early. Just before turn 502, 503. Okay, so there goes the French defense. Persia and Greece have pieced out, so Greece is going to stay alive. Champa and Persia going after Byzantium. Let's see what Rome does. Let's see how much damage they can do. It looks like actually France is just retreating. It looks like that. Yep. So next turn, more than likely, Paris will fall. Another big city given to Rome's favor. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm very interested to see exactly who you guys think is technically the strongest in this campaign. Obviously, we're going to look at the info addicts. I might save turn 550, the end of the campaign, until we actually do, though. That's interesting. Mongolia going after India. They might have a little bit of success with the battleships that are located just south of Delhi, but they don't have any land units. Well, they do. They threw down this the Citadel, which is a pretty smart choice. Mongolia might take over Delhi now. Wow, I didn't think about that. Wow. I'm impressed. I am very impressed. I didn't consider that, but that's a smart choice. And Delhi's like pretty much undefended. India has more cities, right, somewhere nearby. I thought they did, but maybe they just have Delhi. I can't remember. I know I was confused Tibet with only one city, but anyways, I'm gonna stop it right there. I think I think Ethiopia might also take over Jakarta. So these 4 great powers are just taking over capitals. It's crazy. 3 out of 4. Russia's not doing anything, but the other 3 are. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.